Long ago, the Spirit himself led the prophet Isaiah to write. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, and the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. Isaiah 11:2. As we contemplate and anticipate the Messiah's entrance into the world, we are the ones who need wisdom and understanding and counsel and might, fear of the Lord, and ultimately, peace. Where the Spirit is, there those wonderful gifts are given. We are privileged again today to welcome Isaiah ben Amos into our midst to give us more depth about the details that are so important. Spirit-guided words. Good morning, Isaiah. Please come join us.
Peace be with you.
And also with you. Before we hear your views on the work of the Spirit, please have a seat. May we ask you a few more questions about that everyday life as a prophet?
If you must.
Well then, what was it like to be so close to such powerful people in the kingdom of Judea?
My call as a prophet began when Uzziah was king. He was a good king, one of the best. After him I served 3 more kings, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. Jotham and Hezekiah were good and kind kings, but that Ahaz was a problem child. He would know a sign from God if it were hitting him over the head.
Well, Isaiah, as we begin to think about the work of the Spirit, we can't help but just ask what it must have been like to be inspired. Did you know that you were being inspired by God to write what you wrote?
That's privileged information. Why ask these personal questions when you could be asking really important questions that have answers in the inspired words that I have wrote?
Okay. Isaiah, we're confused. What's all this about a shot coming from a stump? Why is Jesse a stump?
King David was the son of Jesse, and his once grand kingdom was going to fall. Though it was like a mighty tree, the kingdom would be cut down to the very roots. But from what looked like dead roots, a tiny green branch would sprout. That branch represents none other than the Messiah.
Oh. Okay. So as you continue to write about that branch, you use the word Spirit 4 times. Obviously, the Spirit is important, but what are you really getting at there?
Well, I'm not sure I realized it at the time, but as the Spirit guided my writing, I wrote about all 3 members of the Trinity in one verse. The Spirit of Yahweh rested on him, Spirit, Father, and Messiah.
Why is the Spirit so important?
Because of his connection to the Messiah. The Messiah will be an obedient son who delights in the fear of the Lord. He would one day demonstrate that as he prayed in a garden on a hill, "Let this cup pass from me, nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will."
Well, what else did your mind's eye see of this Messiah?
He discriminates between the pious and the ungodly. He is not fooled by appearances. He cannot be deceived. He judges with righteousness. From him even the poor and meek receive justice like the rich and powerful. He doesn't use the weapons of this world, but uses the rod from his mouth and the breath of his lips. To say it in a word, his word is his weapon.
What does that word do?
It destroys the wicked. I seem to recall some future words bouncing back into my mind that went something like this. For the way of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit, of joints and marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart.
So, what are the two edges of the word?
The first edge of the law is law that condemns and reminds us that the wages of sin is really death. But the second edge is gospel that gives and delivers forgiveness of sins and reconciliation with God for all sinners. So the wicked are destroyed, but some of those wicked are destroyed into new life by being born again through faith into a reconciled relationship with God.
You have described the Messiah's kingdom in a way that puts a pretty clear picture of peace into our minds. It's a surprising and inspiring picture.
The best way I could show it was by painting a word picture of lambs and wolves, leopards and goats, lions and calves, cows and bears, all together without even one harming another. Picture an infant crawling into a serpent's den and putting her unknowing hand into the hole of a poisonous snake. We want to jump into the picture and rescue the poor child, but nothing happens. Nothing happens in this kingdom because it is the holy mountain of God, and the knowledge of the Lord is over everything, like water over the floor of the ocean.
We want this peace, Isaiah. When is this peace?
The good news is that you don't have to wait for some distant future. The peace that passes all understanding is yours now. It's given by the Spirit who puts faith in your heart. He opens your eyes to see the forgiveness of sins that you have through the Messiah.
Okay, let's not misunderstand what Isaiah is saying here. The Messiah, Jesus Christ, will return. The dead will be raised. A new heaven and a new earth will be made. And what is hidden now of the Messiah's reign will be visible to everyone.
That is the key. What I prophesy is hidden to you now, but just because it is hidden does not mean it is any less real.
Right now, we have peace that passes understanding. We know that peace because of what Isaiah has taught us. The shoot from the stump of Jesse has already sprouted. The Spirit of the Lord rested upon him. He was obedient to his Father, all the way to the cross. The word of his mouth has gone out into the world, and it will continue to go out into the world with the good news of the forgiveness of sins.
Indeed, it's a message powerful enough to turn unbelievers into believers, sinners into saints.
And you and me, brothers and sisters in Christ,
the children of Yahweh.
Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you for reminding us of the Spirit who gives us peace. We will see you again next week.
Farewell and blessings, my child.
Good day, Isaiah.
Good day.
Please stand as you are able as we continue our service with the hymn of the day, hymn 267, Joy to the World.